Hello, Love Wrestling. It is Tuesday morning. It is 10 a.m. And you know what that means by now. Drew and I are here on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. to talk all things WWE for Firmly WWE. We had our first episode here last week. It went very well. Very excited to be chatting some WWE here on the airwaves. Especially with you, Drew. We had our, last week we really just talked about SmackDown and Raw. We have some stuff we're going to talk about SmackDown. I mean, we talked about SummerSlam and Raw mainly last week because we had all the fallout from SummerSlam. We were still waiting. We saw that on last week's episode of SmackDown, so we will talk some SmackDown. We are going to talk last night's very good episode of Raw that we got as well, and we're here for the next couple hours guiding you along that. First and foremost, Drew, how we doing today? How's this Tuesday? You saw a little glimpse of Boston Angry Joe right before we got on here because something in my room decided to fall over and knock over half my damn office 30 seconds before we were going live. And I was not thrilled. I was not. That
thrilled. Was if that's what you all like in sporting events, I definitely need to join you.
Listen. I have a good time at sporting events. I'm respectful. I'm not going to be screaming at anybody. But at the same time, that pissed me off. That thing's been leaning up there that same way for over 2 weeks. Hasn't moved an inch for 2 weeks. And now all of a sudden, 30 seconds as we're finishing up our little pre-show chat, I'm getting ready to go. This thing falls over, knocks over 4 of my pick. What the hell? Anyway, we're fine. We're fine. We're chilling. We're good. We're feeling good.
I don't have any pictures in my room at all.
Mine aren't up yet because, as you can see, it's pretty. I'm trying to figure out. It's a nice sized office, but it's an old house. So
you have a window to your left.
I have a window diagonal to me. So this desk this is like a little nook here. This desk used to be facing this way in the nook.
Right.
So you would see the room over here behind me. And I kind of switched it so I'm closer to the wall, but I have more space open to me. But now I look like plain Jane. I just got a friggin' wall and a door behind me. I got nothing.
Well, you could dress up that wall really nice.
I mean, I that's what I gotta figure that out. I'm not a decorator.
What you should do,
that's not what I do.
I'm doing this live on the air. What you should do, you should turn the desk so that the corner of the wall is behind you. And then you have.
I know it's not. I know it's very faux pas. It's not. You don't want to show corners. You don't want to show corners.
Why?
I just heard that's not. Yeah, I know. So if I did my thing like this, so right, hold on. So if I just did no corner and you just saw this, and it was mainly you know what I'm saying?
Well, you could do that, but then your door ends up opening a few times throughout the show. And then people are going to see.
Well, the door is going to open a few times during the show because I don't think Lou's sleeping yet. So Lou's going to be like, I want in here because his treats, this thing that fell off the wall, almost decided to destroy his treats. Thank God they missed. Otherwise, I would have been really pissed off. But all right, I do want to acknowledge Scott. He's usually in the chat.
Hello, Scott.
But he said, "Good morning, Drew and JPJ. Can't watch live today. Having a minor neck procedure done." So I'm assuming he's probably going to be watching this on delay later on. So I hope everything went well. I hope you're healing up. You're healthy. We appreciate you here. You're always in our chats here at Love Wrestling. You're a very vocal, and I mean this in a good way. You're a very vocal and you're a very strong contributor to our chats here. So I hope everything went well. And I hope by the time you watch this, you're on all the good drugs You feeling good? Can't feel anything? You're feeling good. And then we have Lawrence saying he is team firmly WWE till I die. I hate all those all elite losers. Tony Kant has no idea how to book. Triple H for Booker of the Year. L fed till I am dead.
That is a new one. I have not seen his name spelled that way before.
Tony Kant. So that was Lawrence playing the part of every terrible wrestling fan on social media. So that was what he was doing there. And if you act that way on social media, what are we, 5 minutes in? I can't say it. I was going to say effing don't. Okay. So, Drew. I mean, we got to start. I know Raw was last night. I know it's fresh in our brains. But the tribe, the original. Actually, no, time out. Before we even start, let's pay some bills. Let's pay some bills first before we dive into this. As you can see on the screen here, we have our friends NordVPN underneath Drew. Right there, that little logo. If you just want more protected internet, if you're traveling, you want to bring your home Wi-Fi with you, all the settings that you're used to, or if you're nervous about going somewhere and traveling, the public Wi-Fi, people trying to steal your data, people trying to steal your stuff, you can get a VPN, and there is no better VPN to get than NordVPN. They are without question the safest, the most protected. They will protect all your data, all your stuff better than anybody. You know, we're a bunch of wrestling fans here, Drew. The reason why we're talking right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays is because we love wrestling. We've been wrestling fans the majority of our lives. Everybody that's watching, that's tuning in, most likely you love wrestling. You are wrestling fans. Well, guess what? In a couple weeks, we're going to have to pay $50 for All In. And then a couple weeks after that, we're going to have to pay $50 more for All Out. And then like 3 weeks after that, we're going to have to pay $50 more for WrestleDream. Now, some of us, that might be fine. That might be no big deal. But for a lot of us, $150 in about 7 weeks, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So not only are they the safest VPN you can use, not only will they protect your data, not only will they make it super simple for you to have your home settings and everything you're used to when you're traveling on the road for work, vacation, whatever, you also can change your location on that. And NordVPN allows you to change your location where maybe you don't have to spend $50 3 times in 7 weeks. Maybe you only have to spend 20. Maybe you don't even have to spend anything. Who knows? You can change your location to anywhere you want in the world. That's what you can do with NordVPN. They protect you, they make your life easier, and they might financially help you as well. So go check out our friends, NordVPN. If you are looking into VPNs, there is no better team than NordVPN. Go check them out. Also want to give a shout out to Rich King and the team over at RK Athletics, the first sponsor here at Love Wrestling, the OG, the day one sponsor of Love Wrestling. Rich King is not only a terrific professional wrestler, he's not only a member of the Rads, multi-time champion, he is also one hell of a personal trainer. So whether you are in the Edmonton area or virtually, there are plenty of people where you can see he has helped tremendously virtual who don't even live in the area. If you're looking to get a little bit better, looking to, meal plans, get a little bit more energy, work out, do all stuff like that, you want to go to RK Athletics. Rich is the best. I was able to work out with him a time when I was in Edmonton earlier this year. He knows his stuff. He had me sweating. He had me dying, but it felt great. So go check out RK Athletics if you're looking to get a little bit more in shape or just get a little bit healthier. They are the group, and Rich is the man. RK Athletics 1 on all social media platforms. Okay. Bills are paid. All right, Smackdown.
Oh, yeah.
Smackdown. So let me pull up my nifty thingamabobber. Smackdown was also a really good show. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, we'll start with the main event segment. It was Solo Sikoa coming to the ring. And it was him basically saying, I know Roman's here. If you want to come get this necklace and come say that you're the tribal chief, you need to come take it from me. And then we saw Roman Reigns make his SmackDown return. He comes down, and then the Guerrillas of Destiny attack. And Roman basically takes them all out. Now, Jacob Fatu was not in this segment. He was not there. So he's either actually injured or selling the leg injury, whatever. He was not there. What we did see was Solo and the Guerrillas of Destiny. We saw Roman come back. We saw them try to take out Roman, and we saw Roman standing tall. One thing I will say, and I've seen it a little bit on social media, but I don't think people are talking enough about this segment, Drew. Obviously, we're going towards Roman and Solo for the head of the table. That's fine. At one point in this segment, the necklace fell to the mat. And Roman looked like he was going to go get the necklace. But that's where the Guerrillas of Destiny came. They kind of, prevented him from getting the necklace, and they got Solo back the necklace. Well, Tama Tonga was the one who picked up the necklace to hand it back to Solo. And one thing that I found very interesting, and again, I've seen some people talk about it, but not as many people as I thought. It looked like Tama Tonga was staring at that necklace a little bit longer than he needed to be staring at that necklace.
He sure
so
did.
It makes me think that necklace means a lot to a lot of people in that family. And I just thought
necklace
that was I just
is
thought it was
more important than the title itself.
100%. And I thought it was a very interesting detail where you saw Tama Tonga like pick up the necklace, and he was like staring at it. And then he looked at Solo like he almost was like, damn, should I just keep this? But then he ended up giving it to Solo and kind of falling in line. But I thought that was very interesting, Drew.
And it was reminiscent of the first time that happened with Solo Sikoa, because last year Solo Sikoa picked up, I believe it's called the Ula Fala.
Ula Fala, yes.
Yes. The Ula Fala. He picked up the Ula Fala and he stared at it, and the crowd was like, ooh, what's going on here?
Yep.
Something's happening.
Yep.
And it was very reminiscent of that. And yeah, you're right. Not a lot of people are talking about this. I was very surprised.
Yeah, I thought there would be more discourse about it, because to me that it's a tease. It's a tease.
Yeah, and it seems like whoever holds the Ula Fala,
yep,
they start to want the power of the Ula Fala.
Yes.
And very interesting. So we'll see, because obviously it is going to be Roman and Solo.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I said this last week, but SummerSlam kind of killed Solo as the leader for me. It just did. That match just killed it for me. I don't mean now. I'm not saying that like I don't like Solo, and Solo's nothing and shouldn't be involved in this.
Yeah,
absolutely not. He definitely should be.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, I don't think that they did that good of a job in placing him at a higher stratosphere than the rest of the bloodline, like they did with Roman.
Fair.
Or even with Jay. Like, I feel like he's still kind of similarly in line with Jimmy.
Okay.
Because, like he started running the show and it was showing like, oh, okay, this is something's going on here. He wasn't listening to Paul Heyman. Roman wasn't around. He took over the bloodline. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But brought in Tama Tonga. He brought in Tangaloa. He brought in Jacob Fatu. With the exception of Tangaloa, sorry to say.
Well, you don't like Tangaloa?
Not that I don't like Tangaloa.
Everyone's just making fun of Tangaloa all the time.
Not that I don't like Tangaloa. It's that, yeah. But with the exception of Tangaloa, those other two guys already ahead, levels above.
Mm-hmm.
Solo Sikoa.
No question.
Solo Sikoa. Solo pinned Cody
Clean.
leading into SummerSlam.
That Money in the Bank. Yes, he did.
Before that,
he lost 87 matches in a row.
And that kind of just does something to a character when you think of this guy as a leader, listen.
Look,
I'm going to look it up right now.
He's definitely filling the role of the big brother. I know him and Roman aren't brothers, but big brother is gone. So I'm going to be the leader and I'm a little shithead. That's just going to he's filling that role perfectly. Right. This is up for the taking. Well, it's mine now. I'm going to be the evil. He's filling that role perfectly. And we talked about it. And I've talked about it on the other shows and, beards and stuff like that. Where WWE, I think, missed a little bit. And again, I know Triple H wasn't in charge for all of it when this was going on. But in that stretch where you were leading to Roman losing the belt to Cody in WrestleMania, Solo beat John Cena. He did. He beat John Cena. That happened. That's a major victory for Solo. But besides that, he lost it felt like almost every other match that he was in. He didn't win a match before that John Cena match for 6 months. And I just think WWE could have done a better job of booking Solo on that side of things, because they did a good job throughout the bloodline, because Roman was always skeptical of Solo. Mm-hmm. And Heyman,
he played his role perfectly in that
100%. And Heyman was always skeptical of Roman was the head of the table, but he always looked at Solo Solo's my muscle, but also I need to keep Solo on my side because I don't know, he's a wild card type thing. Mm-hmm. But then he was losing every match he was in, and that takes credibility. If Solo was, let's just say he wrestled 30 matches, right? If Solo was 27-3 in those 30 matches, yeah. But if he was 27-3, winning it 27 wins, 3 losses, including the win with John Cena, when he takes over this mantle after Roman leaves, it's more believable to me. It's more believable because it's I just saw you. We talked about last week. I just saw you run through the roster. Okay, yeah, all right. Do I think you're the real tribal chief? No, Roman is, you piece of shit. But still, it would,
right? But that's the word I was looking for earlier. Credibility. There's no credibility to him being the leader.
It went the other way, and he went 3-27 in those 30 matches. So by the time he takes over, it's bro, yeah, you beat John Cena, good for you, but you also lost to fucking Kofi Kingston. And that's not a knock on Kofi, but you want to be world champion. Kofi ain't at that level right now. Kofi's down here. Yeah. And Kofi beat you. You know what I mean? We'll talk about Kofi. We got some stuff to talk about them in a little bit.
Oh, we can talk about Raw.
When we get into Raw. But anyway, we talked about this, but I thought overall, it's good to have Roman back, man. It's good to have Roman back. You can feel it in the audience. You can feel the energy. They held it to the end for obvious reasons. They want you to watch the whole show. Duh.
And it delivered for sure.
Yeah, it did. And I just think Roman has that aura when he does that look and he just turns around and soaks it in now. The fans. Mm-hmm. I wanted him to grab the mic before they went off the air and just say, acknowledge me, but I think they're going to save that. Because when he comes out for his first promo, Heyman should be with him. Heyman should, right? I know he's a good guy, but Heyman coming back is going to be an even extra pop for Roman.
Yeah.
They could really work as baby faces. Heyman and Roman, I think, could work as good as it did as heels. So
I feel like maybe they'll want to stay away from some of the heel stuff regarding the two of them. He won't be handing him the microphone anymore, and
he should still do the entrance though, right? Because then it would still be
he could do the entrance, yeah.
Do the announcing, and then I think you could do almost the same presentation you did, and it would work as a babyface. And then Roman grabs
it would be the babyface version of him and Brock Lesnar.
And then 100%. And then Roman grabs the mic and says, wherever they are, Boston, acknowledge me. But now the crowd, instead of being half and half, cheers and boos, is going to be all yeah, dude. Yeah, man. You're our dude. I think there's because he hasn't cut the promo. He just came out and did the thing at SummerSlam. He came out and did the thing at SmackDown. He hasn't cut a promo. He hasn't talked yet. We haven't heard him speak. That first time that happens, which I assume will probably maybe be this Friday. Who knows? I feel like Roman should come out first. And as he's standing at the aisleway there, he should kind of do a glance and we should see Heyman walk out. And then the crowd will be like, oh, shit, here we go. Heyman's back. And then you kind of go babyface, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns run.
I want to give you, listen, I am very anti-deferable. Most people, I think, are anti-deferable.
They've mixed in a few bangers here.
It's
a little bit.
Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day.
I'll tell you what, Solo's theme, banger, dude. Solo's theme is a banger.
Solo's theme is a banger.
A banger, dude. We were talking about that at SummerSlam. Like when it was coming out, I was like, hey man, I was looking at some of the media people. I'm like, say what you want. This song right here, banger, dude.
The problem though is if you listen, if you read some of the lines of this banger theme.
I haven't read the lyrics. I just know that dun 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 dun. I like the music. I want it all. Something like that.
Yeah. So literally the second line in the theme is settle the score, the one who will not take that loss.
Well, Solo takes a lot of them.
Later on in the theme, it says, I have been destined to win.
Well, I mean, he is right now the tribal chief. So, I mean, is he lying? Is he lying?
Well, it'd be nice if he won a match.
Yeah.
And he's not going to win a match against Roman Reigns.
No, but I do think
unless there's some chicanery, probably will be.
Now we're approaching Bash at Berlin. We have Bad Blood after that, and then after that is Survivor Series. One would assume we are going to have old Bloodline or original Bloodline versus new Bloodline. I do feel like at War Games, if they do go that route, Solo and the crew needs to win. I feel like Solo and the new Bloodline needs to win the War Games match. And then Roman wins the Solo battle against Solo. No pun intended. I did not mean that to be that way.
Well, hold on, though. Unless that, the babyface win there leads to The Rock.
Well, I think the end game is Roman and Rock. Like, that's still the end game here, is Roman and Rock for the head of the table. But Roman's going to need to get through.
I would say, though, Solo should win the first match, wherever the first match is. And we've got like 3 or 4 months to Survivor Series. So there's Bash at Berlin, there's Bad Blood. Bad Blood might be the right place to do it. They do Solo, Roman, and Bad Blood. Solo wins.
Good.
Then Roman wins at the War Games match. He gets the winning pin. Then they think that that's it. That's for the tribal chief thing. Whoever is the one that wins, they get the moniker, they get the Ulafala back, they get everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pins Solo, and it's like, oh, well, that's it. Original tribal chief won. He's back as the head of the team. Oh, well, here comes The Rock now. Turns out The Rock was the one pulling the strings the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to be, right? The Rock is going to be the one that has been in charge of. He's been the one that's been deciding who's that this is going on. And then it's like, oh, okay. So Solo wasn't the final battle. Solo wasn't, I got to go against the final boss. And now it's head of the table versus the final boss. And that's again, I don't know where they're going to go with it. I don't know if they're doing that at Mania because I still feel like we need to have Cody versus The Rock at some point too, where the way that ended, we do need Cody versus The Rock.
I think probably the best. What a debut for a show. Of the very first Netflix on Raw, you do Cody Rock on the first show.
Good. They're not on Raw, though. That would be
a major moment.
They're not. Again.
Yeah,
nobody. We're seeing it with Rain. Yeah, but you need to. You need to. You can't have a draft every fucking year if the draft doesn't fucking matter every year. You're wasting my fucking time.
Look who's
You are
going after the world
wasting my
heavyweight champion
time.
right now.
But that makes sense, though. I will give it that makes sense because of the thing that happened at King of the Ring. It's still, I don't like it. I don't like it. But at the very least, they're at least explaining it. And I loved, and I know we're talking about SmackDown now, I loved what Randy Orton said last night in that promo, where he said, if I beat you, your ass is going to SmackDown, and I'm staying here on Raw as the champion. I love how they explained it that way.
That was good, yeah.
Because that tells me, hey, if I win this belt, it's not like I'm just on Raw now as the champion. Like, no, you're going to go take my place on SmackDown. I liked how they did that. So as far as what else happened on SmackDown this past Friday, so the show opened with Cody Rhodes. He came out. He did the thing. Hey, Tulsa, what do you want to talk about? All that fun stuff, He talks about the WWE Championship being the North Star of the industry. And he said he's been thinking about who he wants to defend it against at Bash at Berlin. And then we get Solo Sikoa and the Guerrillas of Destiny. They interrupt Cody. And Solo basically says, I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what these people want. I want to talk about SummerSlam. He says that he should be the champion. And he wants a rematch. And then Cody Rhodes calls him a tribal chief cosplayer. He says that he couldn't get the job done. Not only could he not get the job done at SmackDown, but he also got Jacob Fatu hurt. So they mentioned on screen, in the ether, that Jacob Fatu was hurt.
Which actually is not the case.
From what we're hearing, right? From what we're hearing, it's not.
Ross Sapp retweeted from PW Insider. They did a report today or yesterday that he'll be returning before the end of the month.
All right, so he's fine. It was all wow. They fooled me. They fooled all of us. I thought for sure. I was like, his leg is broke. So he goes into it, and then Solo says enough, and it looks like Solo and the Guerrillas of Destiny are going to take out Cody again. And then we have Kevin Owens show up with a couple chairs, hands one over to Cody, and he says, come on, boys, come on in here. And the bloodline does not. And they flee. And then it looks like the segment is going to end there, but then Cody says,
Roman
hold
Reigns
up.
fled a lot when he was original tribal chief.
Oh, he did.
Didn't he?
So then Cody says, Kevin, hold up a second. Hold up a second. I wanted to talk to you. And Cody basically tells Kevin Owens, he says, hey, man, at Bash at Berlin, I want to defend this championship against you. And Kevin Owens, and I saw this from Meltzer. Kevin Owens, to me, he just says, no, I don't deserve that. Look at my win and loss record this year. Look at what's been going on. I have not earned a title shot at that. I have not earned it. I appreciate the gesture, but I have not earned that. And Cody says, well,
too bad.
Yeah, basically. Cody goes, listen, he goes, I know that I see it. I know that the people see it. We know that you're deserving of this. I don't care what you're saying. This is happening. And Kevin Owens is very much no, I don't think this is right. And then we see later on, there's a backstage segment between Nick Aldis, Cody, and KO. And Nick Aldis tells Cody and KO that he actually has a rematch lined up for Roman and Cody. And this gets Kevin Owens pissed off. And Kevin Owens goes, what? Roman? He goes, that guy? He goes, how many times did I have Roman Reigns beat? How many times did a lot of people have Roman Reigns beat when he held the belt for as long as just saying that's why? And his family, the bloodline screwed us all. Like, he was not an honorable champion. I had him beat 2 or 3 times. He doesn't deserve a rematch. And then Nick Aldis goes, all right, well, you said that you don't deserve a rematch. Who does? Whatever. And then it ends up, he goes, well, guess what? You know what? I'm doing this right now. Bash at Berlin, Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Love it. Love it. KO has deserved to be fighting for world championships a lot. This should have happened already, because I feel like He was Universal Champion a long time ago, and this guy should be world champ. He should have already been world champion again. And he's not going to win this match, and that's fine. But he deserves to be in this realm.
I'm worried about
level.
what happens here.
Well, all right, first and foremost, before we dive into that, I did see Dave Meltzer send out a tweet, and he was like, I don't understand why this happened. Why would you not want a championship match? And I was like, that does not make, I go, the Kevin Owens character on the show is like the most logical character in the company. Like he says things the way that, you know what I'm saying? Like he says things, he says what he feels. He's very vocal about how things should go and so him sitting there and going, no, I don't deserve that. Look at my win-loss record this year. I do not deserve a chance. That is Kevin Owens. He
was the only one that knew Elijah.
Yes.
Knew Elias with Elijah.
Yeah. And it's like Kevin Owens, like that is 100% his character. Would be Kevin Owens saying, no, I don't deserve a title match. Look at my record this year. I haven't done anything. Like, I don't know. I just didn't understand why Meltzer would tweet that and say that made no sense. If you watch the shows, that makes 100% sense that Kevin Owens, the character, would say that. Because that's who Kevin Owens, the character, is. He calls things out.
The current character, yes.
He's been this character for a while now, though.
Well, no, yeah. I don't remember if Cody said it in the backstage or if he said it in the promo in the ring, where he was talking about Kevin Owens being the prize fighter.
Yes.
The prize fighter, Kevin Owens, would not have said no. Yeah, so I had many moons ago, I had the prize fighter Kevin Owens shirt.
Oh, love. I mean, he's one of my favorites. I've always been a fan.
The thing that I'm worried about, though, is that I don't want there to be I just don't want him to be a heel again. At least not right now.
I don't think they're gonna. I think this is just gonna be a one-on-one. Listen, it's not.
This is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa and NXT Triple H running the show.
But it's not. That there's no built-in friend. No, that's different. That's different. You have a Vince McMahon warped mind in your brain right now that everything has to be a turn.
No, that was Triple H. That wasn't Vince McMahon.
No, yeah, I know Ciampa and Gargano was, but I think not every friendship needs to end in fucking hatred. That is a Vince. That's not. I think this is going to be just a one-off.
Also, there's something else going on Raw that we're going to talk about where it may be a friendship.
But again, that's different. That's a built 10-year friendship we've seen on our TV. That's different. It's different. This is, Cody and KO have been friendly with each other on TV because they've both been going after the blood. To me, I don't think at all. I don't think we're getting a turn. The turn is Randy when he comes back. That's the turn. The turn is Randy when he comes back to SmackDown. He comes back and he goes, oh, you gave KO a title shot and you didn't give me a title shot? I had to go to fucking Raw to find my title shot? You've been sitting here since champion since April.
That I'm not worried.
You haven't given me a title shot, but you're giving KO a title shot. I had to go over to Raw to find one. What about me? Dropped. Yeah. I think they could. I don't know. But to me, I view this as this is just Cody being a friend saying, hey, man, we haven't fought. I want to fight you for the title. I think you deserve a title shot. It's been a while. And I think they have a good hard fought match. I think KO loses. And I don't necessarily think now, again, can it happen? And it would easily, I could see them having a hard-fought match. Cody wins, and then KO drops him with a stunner. And it's like, oh, what the hell are you doing, Owens? But right now, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to go, hey, this is just going to be a one-on-one, good, hard-fought match between two people that respect each other. And that's what we're doing. Because he's not going to be the main event. The main event's Gunther. It's not the main event.
Something thought of something.
Like it's just I don't subscribe to everything needs to have these. Like to me, this is just a We need Cody on the card, dude. He needs to fight for the title. He has to be on the card. We don't really have a long-term story for him. Let's just do this. It's going to probably open the show because Gunther will main event in Berlin. So it's not going to be the main event. I don't think there's going to be a strong angle that comes out of it because it's not going to be the main event. I just think, how do we get Cody on the card? All right, cool. KO will be a good opponent. Cool. All right, let's do it.
Who are the men's tag champions on SmackDown again?
Bloodline.
Bloodline, right? Okay.
They're going to be facing Sami and
Jay.
Jay, I would assume.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So the thing that I just thought of that was like, this might happen actually. So Bash at Berlin happened.
Yeah.
Cody's gonna win. So Cody and Gunther are gonna win. So Randy and Kevin are gonna lose.
Yeah.
Maybe following SmackDown, Kevin Owens turns on Cody. Wait. Kevin Owens turns on Cody. Randy Orton comes down to make the save, but then also turns on Cody.
Yeah, so then what? Now KO and Randy are a team? Like,
Just tag team.
They don't need to be in a tag team. Why would they be a tag team?
Because A-Town Down Under is going to be splitting soon.
Yeah, but KO and Randy are above that. They're above tag teams. You have plenty of tag teams. You have Motor City Machine Guns coming in. You got the Lucha Brothers coming in. You don't need to.
I don't know.
I don't think they need to. To me, when Randy turns on Cody, he should have to go through KO first. Like when he turns on Cody, KO should be on Cody's side going, what the fuck, man? No. And then it should be KO and Randy first before we get to Randy and Cody. Because I think KO,
Okay,
I think KO being the good guy and like the moral center of the roster, that's a good, and don't get me wrong, Kevin Owens is a great bad guy, and he should be a bad guy at some point again. But like, I don't think this is it. I think you're doing too much shit. Because everyone knows it's Randy. Everyone knows it's Randy sometime soon. It's going to be Randy is the guy that is going to turn on Cody, and it's Randy and Cody. If you throw KO into the mix, I feel like you're just doing it. It's just too much. Oh, this guy turned to go fight Cody and lose. Okay. Oh, now it's Rand. I feel like Cody needs to have some friends. You can't take all his friends away from him. You can't.
Well, when Sami and Jake end up on SmackDown,
but they're going to be with Roman for the most part. Like they'll probably cross paths. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be with Cody. They're going to be with Roman. Cody's going to need somebody in his corner. Because eventually
they could be in Cody's corner for the lead up to Survivor Series and then be in Roman's corner.
They could, but I think Cody and the blood, like they teased it on Friday, so I think it's always going to be in the background, but I think we're moving away from Cody and the Bloodline. I think by the time Bash at Berlin is over, Cody and the Bloodline is done. And I think you're on full board new Bloodline versus original Bloodline. You could lean into the Roman Cody stuff because that needs to happen at some point. But
wait, though. Wait. Technically, it would make sense for Sami and Jay to be with Cody because KO and Sami will, he'll be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And, they're going to play. Listen, I love Kevin Owens, but the problem is that whenever he's a babyface, he always turns heel again. It's just it's a tale as old as time with Kevin Owens.
Look, I'm not against him going heel. To me, I don't feel like that needs to happen this time. I feel like they can just have a really, really good match at Bash at Berlin. Cody beats him straight up, and then that's kind of it. There's just a respectful little, hey, all right, cool, and then we move forward. Because KO at the beginning didn't even want the friggin' match.
And that's why he's going to turn heel, because he didn't even want the match. Then he lost. And now he's going to go crazy over it.
Yeah, he's going to say, oh, I need it now. Like, I get it. I don't know. That just feels like, and again, it could happen. I just feel like SmackDown in particular, well, Roman's back now. So you have Roman and Cody as the two baby faces with LA Knight. So that's 3 big KOs over there,
Got to be a heel.
Randy's got to be the heel. It's Randy.
So we get Randy and Kevin Owens as the big heels because Solo Sikoa is not the big heel.
But the Bloodline are the big heels of the group. They're the main heels.
Yes, but I think that they're starting to move away from the Bloodline being SmackDown now. And also remember, SmackDown is moving to USA Network next month.
Correct.
Or in October.
October, I believe.
No,
it might be next month because I think October might be NXT and CW.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think that's what's going on there. And I'm very happy that NXT is traveling. I think putting them in smaller arenas like in Chicago and St. Louis and start to travel, because that's going to be a big test run for them, because they're going to start putting NXT on the road. If it's a weekly live television show at the CW, not every week is going to be at that performance center. They're going to want like bigger, smaller arenas, if that makes sense, than what we're getting over there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's going to be fun to watch.
It should be.
And I'm not an NXT guy, but I'm going to tune in.
NXT's good, dude. NXT's been humping for a while here. And I think a
lot of NXT talent been humping.
Yeah,
if you took at those shows,
it's a very
very sexual.
I think the CW is a perfect network for them, because CW is like that teeny, like teen romance type thing, and NXT does a lot of those. You know, the sex drives are high down there at the PC, brother.
Yeah,
they are a high.
Two things you're guaranteed at if you go to NXT: the sex drive and getting attacked at the parking lot.
100%.
Oh, but there's not going to be a parking lot anymore because they're not going to be.
Not if they're traveling. We had a couple tag team number 1 contender qualifying matchups that were pretty good matchups on SmackDown. The Street Profits won the first one against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And then later on in the evening, DIY defeated Pretty Deadly, who I love, by the way. Pretty Deadly needs to be, it's not their time. And that's fine. But they, to me, are the perfect WWE tag team. Hilarious.
Okay, that I'll agree with.
They are hilarious. They are very funny. They are good in the ring. Their getup, the song, the outfits they wear, the slow motion entrance, they are perfect. And somewhere down the line, sooner than later, I need a Pretty Deadly tag team championship run. You know it. They are one of the best tag teams on the roster. They need to be used way more often. If you watch, yes, Hab Guy, you are correct. If you watch NXT UK and you actually saw them wrestle and perform in the ring, they are very, very good. And they, to me, heels or baby faces, they should have a job in WWE for 20 years. That's how good they are. They are just that team. If you don't like them, which I have a feeling you're saying you don't, I don't understand how you cannot. They are hilarious. Every time they're on the screen, they maximize their minutes. They make you laugh, or they make something that they're doing working. Those guys are the quintessential perfect WWE tag team. Perfect. And they deserve better.
I 100% agree with you on that last sentence. Definitely. I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it? What is there not to get?
I don't get it.
They're too handsome. You could question. Flamboyant. Yeah, I don't. You know, they're those are their characters. They're two handsome, pretty boy Englishmen who are flamboyant. They show a lot of skin. They're pretty. They consider themselves Pretty Deadly. Great name. To me, they're just perfect. The outfits are perfect. They make you laugh. They can go in the ring. They're funny. They hit every box. For me. And
if they actually for me.
If they actually gave them more, again, they're not getting a ton of time, but they are maximizing the time they're getting. They are making their segments Like they're making them memorable by how funny and how goofy they are and stuff like that. But if they actually like gave them time to have long form, like this match with DIY was great. Like if they give them
They're
long
good
form
wrestlers.
time,
Definitely. Yeah.
that is a tag team that to me will be super over at one point on the roster. Super over if they let them lean into their humor and get them some. Again, it's not their time right now. So they're there, they're filling a role, they're losing all their. It's not their time. But that's a team that is a team that will be a force at some point. They are terrific. I love them. I wanted them to win. I knew they weren't going to win. I knew DIY was going to win. And I love DIY too, but I was rooting so hard for Pretty Deadly. I was like,
they're
please, God.
just like, they're a little cringy to me.
Yeah, but that's the point, though. They're supposed to be.
Yeah, but not in a good way. It's not in a good way. I'm
That's fine.
sorry.
Look, wrestling is subjective. Wrestling is subjective. I mean, Hab Guy says, I get where Drew is coming from, though, because there are some wrestlers that everybody loves and are super over that I just don't get at all. Look, wrestling is subjective. I just look at Pretty Deadly and I'm like, these guys are hilarious. They're hilarious.
I refer to them when I forgot, and now that I remembered that their names are Pretty Deadly, before I remembered that their names were Pretty Deadly, I was referring to them as the two Lord Farquads.
That's fine. But I think that's the shtick. I just think, yes, boy. Like, all of it. All of it is just, it's so good. What I think they should really do is they should have them doing, like, skits. Like, yeah, they do stuff backstage where it's funny, but, like, they should have them doing, like, vignettes, like funny vignettes of them fucking just Pretty Deadly on the town of wherever they are and just have them in their outfits, just filming, going to a bar or going somewhere and everyone's like, what? And I think they could really, really do some fun stuff.
Listen, it's subjective, as you said. And I'm a big proponent of wrestling subjective.
Yeah. Really?
I have nothing against you for liking them. It's just not my thing.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like those type of.
I like the Fashion Police.
Oh, I love the Fashion Police, but like those type of things, but with Pretty Deadly and letting them use their humor and who they are, like it would get over, dude. It would get over. I promise you, they are fantastic.
I mean, Tyler Breeze is technically still with the company, isn't he?
He is. He was there SummerSlam weekend in Cleveland. He was around doing some things. So. Yeah, you bring Prince Pretty back as the
maybe something good will happen.
Yeah. We had a good little promo back and forth between LA Knight and Santos Escobar on SmackDown as well. LA Knight came out with a new vest, new music, looking good, looking like a champion. He came out, he cut a good promo, and he was rudely interrupted by Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma. I thought Escobar was really good here. He congratulated Knight. He said it's not every day that somebody like you gets to taste championship gold. He goes, but let's get real. This whole LA Knight is a champion thing. I don't buy it. He goes, it's just a fleeting moment in the spotlight, and ultimately LA Knight's glory will be nothing but an opening act to Santos Escobar's reign. And then Knight says, oh, you used the word deserve. He goes, Santos deserves the brakes beat off. He says, you deserve the brakes to get beaten off of you one more time. And then we both know that to get a shot, he needed to qualify. So we had Santos versus Andrade and a number one contendership match for the United States title and LA Knight. This match between Andrade and Santos was excellent, as you would expect. Fantastic match. Santos obviously gets the victory, and he is the number one contender. He pulled the tights on a schoolboy victory after a really 2-segment, really, really good back and forth match.
It was a very good match
between these two. And Santos uses the tights on the schoolboy, and he gets the victory. So it looks like at Bash at Berlin for the United States title, we got Santos Escobar versus LA Knight. That should be a good little program for LA Knight as his first program as U.S. champion. So that happened.
Interesting thing to note also, as LA Knight was making his entrance, They show Mr. Incredible Hulk Lou Ferrigno.
They did. I'm going to be honest with you. He looked good. Lou Ferrigno looked good.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I'm actually related to him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Like related.
I've never met him before.
Like, okay, I was going to say like related to a point where like you see him at gatherings.
No, I've never met him before, but he is on my father's side of the family. Like I think like a third cousin or something like that.
Dude, Lou Ferrigno, one of the all-time greats, man. Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. I honestly, he looked so good. If he was bald, I would have thought he was Goldberg.
He looked great. He looked great.
He looks like Goldberg.
And that's a name that I haven't seen. And I honestly thought that he might, like when I saw that, I was like, oh wow. I was like, for some reason I thought he might have been dead. And that's not even like a bad, you know what I mean? That's one of those names I haven't seen in forever.
Immediately, every time somebody says that, I think of the CM Punk promo with Kevin Nash.
Yeah. Oh my God, I thought he was dead. But like, I was like, oh my God, Lou Ferrigno. And then I loved Barrett and Corey Graves that when they showed him, Wade Barrett was like, that's my hero right there. Like, that's literally my hero. And Lou Ferrigno, and then Corey Graves is like, yeah, actually, Wade, I need you to take the table for a few minutes by yourself. I got to go get a picture with him.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy, I know we live in a world where there's been 100 Marvel movies and the Incredible Hulk has been done. That guy is the original Incredible Hulk. Like, that guy is a legend. Power lifter, just the original Incredible Hulk when, like, the TV oh, man, dude. That I saw him and I was like, holy shit, Lou Ferrigno. Wow. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and he really did look great.
Oh, he looked incredible.
And his
he looked like he could still go.
Acts.
I don't know why Marvel has Marvel like called him in for a cameo? Has he been a cameo in any of these Incredible Hulk movies?
I think
he should be.
I think he was in maybe the first,
like the early ones. They should call him back. They should call him back. He looks like he's ready to go. Anyway, that was basically everything that occurred on SmackDown. There was a couple. Oh, I'll tell you one thing that I liked. It looks like we might be getting a Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton program over on SmackDown. And your boy is all in on that. Let me tell you. Mm-hmm. All in on that. There was a little backstage interaction between the two of them. All in, dude. That'd be great. That'd be great. Jade Cargill defeated Alba Fire relatively quickly and easily. And then post-match.
Isn't she the tag champion?
They are. So they went one-on-one because there's Bianca and Jade are still going there. Jade won with Jaded. And then Blair Davenport, who newly joined this little trio they've got here, they started beating down Jade and Bianca. And then we saw Naomi come down for the save. So it looks like they're reuniting the big three over there. And it looks, I assume we'll have a 6-woman tag maybe at the Bash of Berlin, or it'll be Blair, which will be good because that's, it's Germany. It's not where their home is. They're from Glasgow. But Blair Davenport, they're all European. Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, and Alba Fire. So that'll be good to get them if they decide to do it on Bash at Berlin. I don't know if they've already announced it, but the big three versus those three will be a good little match to have there. That also happened. Other than that, I think we basically touched everything on SmackDown. So we can move over to Raw. I'm trying to think if there were any smaller things we might have missed, but Chelsea Green and Tiffany, we did that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
That should be great. I love Tiffany saying like, shouldn't you be busy falling off a ladder or something like that? So that was all of SmackDown. So again, it was a good episode of SmackDown. Big things happened as they approach the end of the SmackDown relationship on Fox before they switch on over to USA. And then we had Monday Night Raw last night. Took place from Austin, Texas. I've heard great things about Austin, Texas, Drew. I've never been, but it is on my list. I've heard it's a great city. A lot of good restaurants, good bars, a good time. I've heard Austin, Texas. They were at the University of Texas. I'm not going to say the tagline because who cares about the University of Texas? But they were at the University of Texas.
That is definitely a sports reference.
Yeah, hook 'em horns. That's why Mark Henry was there. Great. Who gives a shit? I'm from Massachusetts. We don't care about the University of Texas at all. So don't care. So they were there. And Raw opens up with Mommy. Rhea Ripley starts the show. She comes out. She's finally getting to talk about everything that happened at SummerSlam. How Dom turned on her. How Liv Morgan's made her life a living hell. And the line that Rhea said here that got everybody talking was she said, "Hey, Dom, you know what? At SummerSlam, yeah, you did stab me in the back." She said, "But I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard this before. It just wasn't deep enough." And I was like, wow, what a joke. I said, dirty, dirty, Rhea. But it was a good line. It was a good line. And then we see through the crowd, Dom and Liv Morgan show up. Liv starts talking first. She says that she thinks Dom has some things that he would like to get off his chest. And Dom cuts a promo here, and the crowd was doing its thing. The crowd was booing him. He started yelling at him in Spanish, which I like how he's kind of added that to his arsenal. Yeah. I like how he's kind of done that. But he started screaming at him in Spanish, and then he just kind of powered through it. He said, "Mommy," he goes, "you tried to change me at first, and I was cool with it, but Liv lets me be myself." He said, "It was embarrassing." He goes, "It was embarrassing having to call you mommy." He goes, "But now I got a girl that calls me daddy." That was the first line. He goes, "She gives me tendies whenever I want. She lets me play video games whenever I want. She lets me be myself." And then he said a fact here. He goes, "And Liv's also done something you never did, Rhea. She helped me finally beat my deadbeat dad," which is true. That is true. Liv did help Dom defeat Ray. But like as Hab Guy said, the tendies line killed him.
Listen, that whole Dominic Mysterio cut an absolutely phenomenal promo last night. It was
good stuff. It was
absolutely
good stuff.
Phenomenal. Just like, yeah, you know what? I'm a man now, and you didn't treat me like a man.
Correct.
She gives me tendies. She lets me play video games. Yeah. I was like, and which, listen, those are manly things as well. I'm not saying that those are childish.
No,
but
not
just like coming from him, he looks like a 15-year-old.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
And he's like, yeah, I got a girl that calls me daddy now. She gives me tendies. Yeah. It was so great. I loved it.
Rhea then responds, and she says that she's proud of Dom, and watching him grow into the man he is today is one of her greatest accomplishments. Finally did something for himself. He won gold. He goes, but when it came to Ray, she wanted him to beat Ray on his own. So she didn't want to get involved. She didn't want to help because she thought that was something that Dom needed to do on his own and beat Ray. And she said, but now since you're making your own decisions like a man now, that she's proud of that too. But the problem is the decision he made at SummerSlam was the last decision he's ever going to make. Then Liv gets back on the mic. She starts taunting Rhea, and then the crowd starts chanting sloppy seconds, Drew. And to where Liv goes, you can chant all you want, but I'll take Dom's sloppy seconds any day. I was like, fuck, man. All right, here we go, dude. Here we go. And then she said, I've taken everything from you, Rhea. And then Ripley says, yeah, you've taken all my weak links. That's what you've taken from me, my weak links. But she said, the mistake you've made is that you've left me standing and you're going to have to kill me to take me down. And then all of a sudden, walking behind, showing up right behind Liv and Dom, Damian Priest. Great visual of him just walking out. And it was like, oh, shit. And I was just like, oh, Dom's getting it. I'm like, Dom's going to get it right now.
And he did.
Oh, yeah. And then Rhea says, hey, dummies, turn around. And they turn around, and Damian Priest just whoops
And they
Dom.
did a perfect, in unison, like stare at each other and then
Yep.
turn behind. It was so great. I loved it.
And then Liv is kind of in no woman's land. She's on the steps. She's not getting involved with. So Dom and Priest. Priest is whooping Dom in the concourse area near the fans. Liv is kind of on the steps. She's like, I don't know where to go. And then Rhea starts booking it up the steps from the ring. And then the camera kind of moves to the concourse. And then we see, all out of nowhere, we see Liv run into frame with Rhea chasing her. And then Dom and Priest is whooping Dom. Oh, man. It was good stuff. And then it ends up with Priest taking Dom down towards the ring area where he is attacked by Carlito. And then that turned into the opening match of the night of Raw, which was Carlito going one-on-one with Damian Priest. Good match. Damian Priest gets the win. I did not need this match going as long as it did. I felt like Damian Priest should have just beat the shit out of Carlito. Agree. Like a 2-segment. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind. It was a fine match. It was fine. And I don't mind I don't mind what they're doing with Priest right now is just great.
Listen,
he should have beat the shit out of Carlito.
He absolutely was elevated by winning the title at WrestleMania and carrying it as long as he did. Mm-hmm. He is getting big babyface pop.
You can make an argument
not getting before that.
The
title reign worked for him.
At this point, Rhea Ripley, I think, is the most over babyface on Raw, period. But Damian Priest, with Seth being out, like Damian Priest is right there. You can make an argument he's the top male babyface on Raw right now.
Aside from Jay.
And or Punk, whatever they're doing. But like he's the top guy in that, and you're 100% right. That title reign did wonders for him. And it was a really good reign for him. And I think by the time he gets it again as a babyface, it could be, big stuff. But again, Priest and Carlito had a really good match. Damian Priest won. And then post-match, JD McDonough and Dom show up. They start taking out Priest. Finn Balor shows up, starts taking out Priest. Liv is out there as well. Rhea Ripley's music hits again to an equally as large pop as she got 10 minutes earlier when her music hit the first time. She gets a huge pop, comes out, Judgment Day scatters, and then JD McDonough eats a super kick that was meant for Finn, but JD kind of sacrificed himself and pushed Finn out of the way. And then JD McDonough, for the second week in a row, sells a South of Heaven as good as you will see. Takes another South of Heaven.
Absolutely.
And then Dom looks like he's about to get Rhea's riptide from Rhea Ripley, but when she lifts him up, Liv saves the day and pulls Dom out, and they scamper through the crowd. Really, really good. And then we found out right in that moment or a little bit later in the night that at Bash at Berlin, we're getting ourselves a mixed tag, which should be a whole lot of fun. And it is going to be Dom and Liv going up against Priest and Rhea. That match should fucking rule, Drew. That match is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Excellent stuff from the Judgment Day on Raw. Again, excellent stuff. The story they're telling with them is really, really good.
Did you hear? So now I wanted to ask you this question. Did you hear the rumor yesterday about street trash?
Yeah, so I watched Raw last night with Josh, our buddy Josh Robinson, and he told me about that. I did not hear it, but Josh told me about it, that the rumor was they were going to rename. I hope they just keep it the New Judgment Day. Just call it the New Judgment Day. But I heard the rumor that they're thinking about calling them street trash, which to me,
I love it. I really hope it happens.
Even if you call yourselves that, like you come up with that name, that's a negative connotation to me for that name.
It absolutely is.
You know what I mean?
But I want it.
We got the boss.
I don't want it for some reason.
We got the boss man popping in saying, "Look at how stern he looks in that photo. You see how like professional he looks in that photo?
That Spencer, that's one of your best
That's
photos.
Like, no smile. You meet Spencer, it's usually smile from ear to ear. Like that's who the guy is. He's like a ball of energy. He's always so polite and friendly. But that picture is just all business. Just all business in that photo right there. And there you go. That is my bit. See, all business.
Yep.
And then we got our buddy Tom Talks Rubbish.
Tom.
Tom Talks Rubbish coming in saying, "What's up? Love seeing you guys smashing life. We love seeing you smashing life. Not right now because we're doing a show, but my new interview with Tom was released.
Oh yes, everybody go watch that. It was very
Go watch that. He's been releasing clips the last couple days too. Yep. And Spencer saying, "Morning, Tom. Tom is going to be on brunch this weekend, y'all.
Very nice.
He's going to be on brunch on Sunday, so
check out the brunch gimmick
for that as well. The brunch gimmick Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love to get on that more often. It's few and far between, but that's how I started here at Love Wrestling. I was on brunch every Sunday for like 2 months before I ran into Pluggo and beards formed. But
and that story is told on Tom's interview with you.
It sure is. It sure is. All right. What else happened on Raw? We're going to save the main event, which was a fantastic main event. We'll save that for actually the main event of the show. We had, maybe. I thought that was what, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Unless he was saying that he was going to be on brunch.
Yeah, maybe Spencer's just saying that he's on brunch this Sunday. But it looked like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got time. It's Tuesday.
It read wrong if that's not the case, so we apologize.
We did see, okay, so let's get into it now. Because we saw the in-ring Raw debut of Odyssey Jones. So he squashed talent. He went up against, oh, that was a joke. All right. See, I'm too slow for it.
It's still early for us. It's 5 hours later for you. You've been up.
He went up against a fella named Vincent Winey. What a name. So it was a squash match.
What a looker too, that guy.
Yeah, it was a squash match for
apparently Cora Jade's boyfriend.
Vincent Winey?
Yeah.
All right.
They're dating.
Good for him. I mean, that good for him.
Good for her.
I didn't pay attention to what he looked like at all. I didn't pay attention to anything that he was doing.
Straight. You're not looking at that stuff.
No, that's why I said good for him, because I mean, there's no better prize he will get in WWE than that. So, a little bit before this match, though, we saw Xavier Woods walking down a hallway out back. He's looking like he's in a good mood, Drew. He's looking like he's in a good mood. He's ready to go, and he comes up to Kofi and Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones warming up for his debut match. Kofi pumped, and he's saying, "Hey, since Odyssey Jones repaid the favor for us, and he helped us out last week, I thought for his big debut tonight that we would go down to the ring to support him." And Xavier's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, great. Kind of just like, all right, I'll do it, whatever. But he's not really feeling it, Drew. And then Kofi says, "Oh, you're wearing that shirt? Okay, we should have got you one of these shirts that Odyssey Jones had." And that didn't, you could tell that didn't make Xavier feel good.
Something's going on there. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what happened? So, yeah, go ahead. The match happened. Go ahead.
So the match happens. It's a squash match, as you would expect. One very quick, one and done. Odyssey Jones gets a big victory. After the match, Kofi's really excited. Odyssey Jones is really excited, and Xavier Woods is just kind of like, all right, just kind of, great, not that excited, not doing whatever. You can tell he's skeptical. And then we have the Final Testament. They show up. Karrion Kross accuses Kofi. Now they're getting into it, Drew. Because he says, "Kofi, I know what you're doing here." He goes, "You're using Odyssey Jones to replace Big E." And the crowd's like, oh, he said it. He said it. But Xavier.
We literally said that on our first show last week.
We did. Let's see. Hold on. And so then Xavier interrupts and he says, "Hey, I know what you're doing here, and it's not going to work." He wants to fast forward to the point where they make a match. And he goes, "I want it to be you and whatever one of your guys you pick versus the New Day." And Kofi grabs
that microphone.
Goes, "Nuh-uh. Here's what we're going to do. Why don't we skip the tag team match and we get right to a 6-man match, and you get you and your two dummies over there, and you go up against the New Day and Odyssey Jones." And you can see it immediately that Xavier Woods is like, "No, I don't want this guy around me." He's not thrilled that it turned into a 6-man and not a tag match. Karrion Kross accepts, saying that the devil's work is never done. So it looks like I don't know if they announced this is happening on Raw next week or if they're going to bring it to the pay-per-view. I don't know what they're doing.
I
But
think it's Raw.
We are going to have a 6-man tag. It'll be Karrion Kross and the AOP, we assume, going up against the New Day and Odyssey Jones. So I don't know how I feel about the New Day potentially breaking up. Not saying that I think they're 100% going to go that route. I think
I remember last week you were
Yes.
saying that they should just stay together and do the single stuff.
Well, I think what should happen here is I think it's okay for Xavier Woods to feel a certain way about what's going on here. But I don't think, again, kind of what the KO, like, I don't think that necessarily means that he has to turn heel. Like, I think, why can't him and Kofi just have a conversation on screen where he goes, hey, I feel a little uneasy about this because, like, the New Day is me, you, and Big E. That's the New Day. And I have a feeling that, even though I don't agree with Cross, I am feeling that way a little bit, that Odyssey here, whether it's by you or by him, but I feel like Odyssey is kind of becoming the new third guy, and that doesn't make me feel like, why can't people, I know it's professional wrestling, but we have to normalize having normal conversations on the professional wrestling TV. Like that, like, not everything needs to be, oh, this guy's around.
Coffee out.
Yeah, sorry. But, like, not everything needs to be, oh, this guy's around now. I'm angry. I'm going to turn on my best friend of 10 years now. No. Why can't
normalize conversations?
Why can't Xavier Woods just go, hey, man, I don't really feel great about this guy being here. It feels like he's taking the place of Big E, and that doesn't make me feel good because the New Day is me, you, and Big E. And then Kofi can say, hey, man, I'm not trying to replace Big E, but we've had a rough luck of it. We needed some help, and I got some help. And then eventually, I'm not saying Xavier Woods needs to become best friends with Odyssey Jones. Maybe this is the way they do it, and that is going to be the New Day if Big E is not ever coming back or anything like that. I don't know. I also think there's a small outside chance where this feels like something that could eventually lead to a Big E return if Big E were ready to go. I personally don't think we're going to see Big E maybe ever again, but at least for a long time. But I don't know. I just feel, I don't feel like the New Day should break up. I just don't. And I'm okay with yeah.
Let me drop some gospel on you. Final boss style. I think what a really, really great story now would be, because this is how the segment, not the segment in the ring, but the segment before the match when they did the shirt thing.
Yes.
Immediately, for some reason, it clicked in my head. Oh, wait a minute. Odyssey.
Yeah.
Is playing with Kofi.
Could be. What if Odyssey Jones turns heel out of this? You think that could happen?
So my initial thought was,
Karrion Kross set this up.
What they're doing here is, this was my initial thought. Odyssey Jones is manipulating Kofi Kingston.
Okay.
At the same time, the Final Testament, specifically Karrion Kross,
messing with Woods,
making Woods think that Kofi is doing his own thing, while at the same time, Odyssey Jones, and we don't see this, obviously, this will come out later on, kayfabe. Odyssey Jones is telling Kofi, look what's happening with Xavier. Xavier's going to turn on you. So Kross is telling Woods that Kofi's turning. Odyssey is telling Kofi that Woods is turning.
Okay.
And I think what could end up happening, now it's just going to depend on Big E's status. it looks like, because that's what they're doing. This is what they're setting up, is that
Yeah.
Xavier is going to turn on Kofi. But what actually ends up happening is that Xavier is the one that gets attacked instead by Odyssey and Kofi.
Okay.
That's when if Big E's healthy,
Mhm.
if they've been hiding his status and they want to make it a big surprise, that's when Big E comes to make the save. And Big E and Kofi and Xavier have to try and get Kofi out of the Stockholm syndrome of Odyssey Jones. Because what they've been establishing the past few weeks is that Kofi's kind of been friendly with Odyssey Jones for a while now. And Xavier didn't even know.
No, because Kofi was rehabbing at the Performance Center, and that's when he met him. So this was all done while Xavier was getting his shit kicked in by himself for a month straight by the Final Testament.
Yeah. So in my head, if I'm booking this, I go, okay, I make it look like Xavier is going to turn on Kofi by having Karrion Kross do this whole spiel for the past few weeks. But in reality, it's actually Odyssey that's been pulling the strings behind Xavier's back and been turning Kofi against Xavier. And that's what a better way to do it than next week in the match, honestly. They lose the match, and then it looks like Xavier's going to turn, but then it's actually Kofi that turns. And Odyssey and Kofi beat up Xavier, and then Big E comes and makes a save. Now, again, this all depends on Big E's status. He's been at shows, doing the backstage stuff, the pre-show and whatever, and the post-show. We don't know if he's fully. I mean, he had tweeted not too long ago, and I don't know, maybe if that was the plan. You know, I'm big braining this. If maybe the plan was for him to tweet that he isn't fully ready yet and may never be ready to surprise everybody, and then he comes and makes the save for Xavier. Or the other thing, which is what you were talking about, is that Odyssey's actually been working with the Final Testament. And it turns out they're going to lose that match, and then Odyssey and the Final Testament are going to beat down both Xavier and Kofi, and then Big E comes and makes the save.
Could. Again, it's obviously...
It can go a couple ways.
Yeah, and if Big E is not involved with this at all, like if he's still, there's different ways they can go. I don't know. I feel like at some point, then again, it's wrestling, so it's the most ridiculous stuff that's ever existed, right? Like, that's what it is. But like, at some point, I do think we are at a time at 2024 where, like, can we have, like, would it really hurt the program if at one point they showed a backstage segment and Xavier Woods was telling Kofi, like, hey man, like, I don't care that like you're friends with this guy or anything like that, but like, it's what Cross said last week about you replacing Big E. Like, I'm kind of feeling that way. That's why I've been uneasy. It's not that I dislike this guy. I'm just getting the vibe that we're trying to have a new member of the New Day, and I don't feel good about that. And then Kofi can be like, no, dude, that's not how. And then it just, I think that creates more layers to a story by having a conversation like that, instead of us just being like, well, Woods is pissed, so Woods is just going to turn, or you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like...
Right. Yeah, I understand.
I just feel like we're at a point now in society where, like, we can start to have, like, more realistic conversations from time to time on the show.
See, now, I'm not
time.
going to say this. I'm not going to say this to be tribalistic, because I'm not tribalistic, but you see a lot of that on AEW.
You do.
And I look at WWE differently.
Yeah,
I
WWE
see
is entertainment. Yeah.
I see AEW for the wrestling, and I see WWE for the storytelling.
Yeah, the entertainment. Yeah.
Not that there isn't wrestling in WWE, and not that there isn't storytelling in AEW.
Yeah.
But the primary factor to watching WWE is the storytelling, not the
Yeah.
wrestling.
I
The
agree.
primary factor to AEW is the wrestling, not the storytelling.
Correct.
They present it different ways. People like one or the other. People like both. People dislike both. Subjective, as we've been mentioning.
Mhm.
Wrestling is subjective. So I see WWE
Mhm.
storytelling first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that was always like even when I started watching WWE regularly for like 12 years ago now,
Yeah.
I wasn't that much into the wrestling. It wasn't and I mean, of course I was like a new wrestling fan, so it was like, "Oh wow, the athleticism, cool." But
Mhm.
the storytelling, that's what I was really into.
Oh yeah.
And of course AEW came in at a time where I was already like wanting to really be a wrestling fan. So I
Mhm.
gravitated to AEW because of that's where my fandom was. I wanted the wrestling, so AEW gave me that. WWE is still giving me the storytelling, and God Almighty, if they've been doing the storytelling beautifully this year.
Oh my God.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's it's not that they don't present wrestling. They absolutely do. But I definitely am looking at WWE more storytelling driven.
Mhm.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right. I think WWE is more built off of storytelling. Um, I think that was a perfect way to say it. 100%. Um, well, we just got breaking news that just happened less than an hour ago, Drew.
Oh, what?
Randy Orton confirmed that he signed a 5-year
Oh,
extension with WWE. 5 more years
my
of
goodness.
Randy Orton. Uh, so we might as well dive in to Randy Orton on Raw tonight.
What a perfect
So,
transition.
right? Figured. Let's see. Let me get to this part of my thing here. Where the hell is Randy Orton, dude? But Randy comes out. He's gonna cut a promo. He is immediately interrupted by Gunther. Bro, what the hell? Where did I put these notes for this? What is going on here? When the hell did this happen on the show?
It was like mid-show, I think.
What, right? I'm like, where the hell is my notes?
I might have started like the third hour, maybe.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on, dude.
Um,
What the hell? Oh, here we go.
I
Yeah, Randy.
can.
Yeah, I found it. He
I
makes
found
his entrance. Yeah, he says 20 years ago this month he won the world title for the first time, and he became the youngest world champion in history. He said in a few short weeks at Bash at Berlin, history will repeat itself, and he'll become a 15-time world heavyweight champion. Gunther comes down in the ring. He obviously has an issue with that. Let me tell you, dude, Gunther, what a heel! What a great heel
this is yeah.
Gunther is.
Oh yeah.
Orton says, I remember this atmosphere because in a few short weeks he's going to beat Gunther, and then like he said, his Friday nights won't be free anymore because Monday Night Raw will be Randy Orton's new home, and Gunther will be packing it off the SmackDown after he beats him for the title. And Gunther grabs the mic and he says, you know what? I agree with you. This moment should be memorialized. And then he starts talking about Orton's wasted potential. And he goes, yeah, you have the accolades. You're one of these guys. He goes, but you are literally like the perfect wrestler. And you even threw away as good as you have been. You've even thrown away some of your potential because, you've gotten in your own way and, leaning into stuff like that. We all know Randy's past. He wasn't always the greatest guy. He then says that this is the era of the Ring General. And his era, there is no room for wasted potential. He said Randy will have no further role to play. And then Orton then says, all right, well, allow me to reintroduce myself to you. I'm the most unpredictable, violent, and successful superstar in the history of the game. Gunther disagrees. And he says that you're actually very predictable. And he says, I can predict a few things. One, I'm going to give you the beating of a lifetime in Berlin. That's one prediction. He goes, 2, because of that, you'll never be champion again. He says it comes naturally to Randy because, and this is where he starts digging deep here. He goes, being a screw up and a waste of potential comes, that comes easy to you because your grandfather and your father were both screw ups. And you're no different. You're the biggest screw up of them all. And right as the things are getting heated, we hear Drew McIntyre's music. Drew.
And we were told previously.
Yes, I have not talked about this. Yes. Yeah.
Drew McIntyre and
at a backstage segment
Adam
with Pierce. Yep.
Yes. And Adam Pierce told Drew McIntyre CM Punk was not on the show. He couldn't make his flight, or there was some flight issues.
Travel issues. Yep.
Yeah. So he was all alone and there was no CM Punk.
Yep. And Drew said, why do I care about Punk? I handled that at SummerSlam. I just really want to know why Randy Orton from SmackDown is here fighting for the title. And then Drew says, Scout's honor, man. I'll be on my best behavior tonight. Scout's honor. So then you fast forward to this. Drew McIntyre enters the frame. And before he can even get to the ring, CM Punk comes out of the crowd, starts attacking Drew McIntyre, whipping him with the belt. I don't know if you saw the photo that Drew McIntyre put on social media of his back.
I did not.
But CM Punk, he got them shots in with that belt because holy crap. Drew McIntyre's whole back was red with welts. Oh, baby. So that happened. And then in the ring, while this is going on, Gunther turns around and is given an RKO by Randy Orton. So Randy Orton hits an RKO out of nowhere. And that's how this segment ends, with Drew and Punk fighting again and Randy Orton getting the best of Gunther, hitting him with an RKO. This was a good little segment. Kept Drew and Punk strong. Made Randy look good, getting the best of Gunther. You don't really see Gunther take a lot of things like that happen. So him taking an RKO and being laid out like that, that's rare. That's rare. I thought it was really good. And it's clear that we're continuing Drew and Punk later on. Punk was also in the back. And he said that he's not done with Drew McIntyre. And he looked at his belt and he said, I think I have a perfect idea of how we can continue this. So it seems to me that they're going to have some sort of strap match or something like that.
Probably.
It feels like that'll happen at Bash at Berlin, because the rumor is that Drew and Punk Hell in a Cell is going to main event Bad Blood. That's the rumor. Or it's going to be one of the primetime matches at Bad Blood in October. So I think it would make sense to have some sort of strap stipulation match at Bash at Berlin. They clearly were leaning in that direction last night with what went down. But I thought this was a money segment between Orton and Punk. I mean, Orton and Gunther. You had the Punk Drew stuff. I thought this was a great segment, Drew.
Yeah, agreed. So a couple things. One, I really, I've said this last week, I'm going to reiterate it. I love Gunther and Randy Orton. This is a great program.
Yeah, for sure.
And what you said earlier, Gunther is such a great heel. And I loved
just the smirk that he does sometimes on his face. Like when he's talking, he's just like that, he's perfect.
Like he has he's got the perfect heel like tendencies. Like it's just, he exudes heel, and it's such a great thing to watch. I thought interesting the line that he said about now that he's there's in his era there's no room for wasted potential. It almost felt like that was a subtle little dig at Vince McMahon. It's like, because obviously under Vince McMahon's regime of WWE, Gunther was wasted potential.
Oh, he was on the verge of leaving.
And yeah, that's right. And now he's like, this is his era now, and there's no room for wasted potential. It just felt like a really subtle little, jab there. Now the other thing that I want to talk about, which is a theme on Raw for a little while now, because it's not over yet after this promo, after this segment. So Adam Pearce tells Drew McIntyre that CM Punk is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And then CM Punk turns out actually he's there. And
then
and
in the
beats
promo
down Drew.
in the promo later on, CM Punk openly admits, he goes, "Oh, I lied. I
Yeah.
openly lied because I knew Drew would show up if he thought I wasn't here." So
Right. So and it's not the last time that on this show or in the past little while now that something happened for Adam Pearce.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to. Oh, and also Punk said, "Oh, the bracelet. Well, you can keep the bracelet." Now he's saying, even
Don't
though
say
it
it.
wasn't about this for 2 months
Yeah.
straight, but now all of a sudden CM Punk is saying, "Oh, it's not about the bracelet. It's about the names on the bracelet."
And you do not say my dog's and my wife's names out of your mouth, Drew McIntyre.
Okay, so
That's the whole thing.
at least we now know that according to that promo, the next match between them, the focus will not be the bracelet. Because it definitely was about the bracelet for the last 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason why you lost at SummerSlam was because of the bracelet, Punk.
Yep, 100%.
So I guess they're pulling back on that stuff, which is nice. Because I would like it to just not be about the bracelet anymore.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. As we move on, we did get let me tell you. I put stuff on Twitter about this too. Good for Akira Tozawa and Otis, man. Good for those guys, because let me tell you, they had themselves a tornado tag match against the Creeds. On the way down to the ring, Oba Femi, the NXT North American champion, is at ringside, and him and Otis have a stare down. And then we find out that tonight, what they said, tomorrow, but tonight, Oba Femi is having an open challenge for the NXT North American Championship. And we found out on WWE's social media account after Raw that Otis is accepting that challenge. So tonight on NXT, it'll be Oba Femi versus Otis for the because they cross paths. Oba Femi's not on Raw, clearly, but he was in the crowd. This dude, you don't watch NXT, Oba Femi is a guy you need to pay attention to. He's like 25 years old. Incredible. But they did a little thing there. So that was a little cool. You got something to look forward tonight. Otis can go, man. Otis can go. So that match should be pretty good. And then you know what? I was sitting there and I'm watching this match. We know how great the Creeds are. They're great. This match was very good. And it was very entertaining. And I'm sitting there the whole time going, you know what? Good for Otis and Tozawa. Because these are two guys that they have been in this company and they've been on this roster for a long time, and they sat through a lot of bullshit. They sat like a Tozawa booked to garbage. He was one of the standouts of 205 Live in the Cruiserweight Classic. Like, that guy got over. He was a standout when he would do the chop, like he would do that stuff, and that guy was over, man.
Yeah.
And Otis was over. Otis was over to the point where, I mean, they gave him the briefcase before the world ended with COVID and stuff like that. They stuck through a lot of bullshit. And now they're having matches on Raw where, like, dude, Otis and Tozawa last night were so over. That crowd was losing their minds in that tag match, wanting Otis and Tozawa to win that tag match. And in that moment, it just made me feel like, man, good for them. Good for them. They stuck through. They went through terrible booking and they just stuck through. And now they're actually like being used properly. And like, I care about the American Alpha, or I care, American Made is now, but I care about them. I care about that group. Even Maxine Dupree, I care about. I care about that whole group. They did a really good job with Gable burying them verbally to the point where they are sympathetic characters now for everybody. And this match was really good. The Creeds end up winning because Ivy Nile showed up and started beating down Maxine Dupree. And we finally got that heel turn where Ivy Nile is a full-on heel now with American Made, with Gable, with the Creeds. Ivy Nile is there. I loved Michael Cole referencing Diamond Mine after he said it in the commentary. I thought that was a nice little thing by Cole. Have Guy saying is something he wants Gable to do is embrace the "You Suck" chants and use Kurt Angle's music. I mean, I think he embraces the "You Suck" chants. I think he's earned that. I don't know if they'll ever use Kurt Angle's music. I think they'll just kind of save that for Angle. But Chad Gable, I mean, I'm sorry. Last week when they came out for the first time, I was like, that is American out. That is Team Angle, dude. That is 2024 version of Team Angle. That's what they are, man. Really good stuff. I thought this tag, I love me a tornado tag, Drew. That's one of my favorite match stipulations there ever is a tornado tag. Just let the 4 people in there and just whoop each other. I thought this was a great little match.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I thought this was a great little match. I liked it a lot. So that happened. They continued the Pete Dunne Sheamus thing on Raw as well. We had
I love this story.
I did too. We had an interview earlier in the day in the empty arena with Pete Dunne. He said that, he's asked about being under Sheamus's wing, and he says, I was never under Sheamus's wing. He goes, it was me that elevated Sheamus, not the other way around. And he goes, what did it get me? A terrible nickname and a front row seat at the Sheamus show, which I liked. And then she mentioned the name Butch, and Pete Dunne just interrupted her and was like, don't ever say that name again. 2 years I had to hear that name. Don't ever say that name again. That name is never being talked about ever again. And then he mentions Ridge Holland. He goes, I was there with Ridge. Where's Ridge at now? Which obviously Ridge is in NXT currently, part of Chase U. But he goes, where's Ridge? He goes, we were all here, and we were just here for Sheamus. He states flat out that he's not Butch. He is the bruiserweight Pete Dunne, an 18-year veteran, and he never wants to hear that name again. So then later on, we have Sheamus. Oh God, this is just, my notes are fucking everywhere. All right. So Sheamus is interviewed backstage, and he says he doesn't understand why Pete Dunne has so much beef with him, and he blames him for falling off the radar so hard. He goes, it's not my fault. It's Pete's fault. He goes, but the ironic thing is now he's making himself relevant off of Sheamus. So he says that, I was just doing it for my name, but yet now he's trying to make a name for himself again by using me.
Yeah, I really like this a lot.
Yeah, very smart.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Ludwig Kaiser, who has a little bit of a history here. Oh, I like Kaiser too. I like all 3 of these guys. But I like Kaiser a lot. You know how I feel about Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne that guy could be world champion as far as I'm concerned. That's how good I think Pete Dunne is. But I like Kaiser a lot.
All the Europeans on this show are just phenomenal.
Fantastic. They're just killing it. Kaiser rolls up and he starts talking to Sheamus, but then Pete Dunne appears out of nowhere and blindsides Sheamus and starts beating him down with the shillelagh. And he cracked the wood across Sheamus's hand, which appeared to break or hurt Sheamus's hand significantly. And then Kaiser just kind of looks at Pete Dunne and he just goes, boop, and he just kind of lets it go. So good little piece of business, making this progressing Sheamus and Pete Dunne, but also making you remember that Kaiser and Sheamus isn't done yet either. So they got Sheamus kind of dealing in multiple things here, which I like. But I thought it was a really good progression of this story with Sheamus, Pete Dunne, and Kaiser.
No, yeah, that was a great, having the Pete Dunne segment and then the Sheamus follow-up was, and it's true. And what I like about heels is that they are delusional. It's really your number one quality if you're a heel, is you're delusional. We saw it with Dominic earlier, and then with Pete Dunne, Sheamus wasn't the one that named you Butch, pal.
I do like how they've done. I do like how they've, because you're not going to come on screen and say, "Hey, the old man that used to run this place was an idiot. Name me Butch." So I do like how they're referencing though how bad of a fucking name Butch was.
Yeah.
I can only imagine Vince
digging without mentioning the name.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I bet you he doesn't really watch the product because he's not involved as much as. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not at all. But I can only imagine if Vince is watching, just hearing them shit on the Butch name week after week, and him just sitting there going, "Nah, it was a good name. It's a good name." But anyway,
Yeah, so I was really a fan of this, and then Sheamus doing the obvious, I was out for a while.
Yep.
And your name was still Butch.
Yeah, what'd he do? He didn't do anything.
And then I came back, and what you're saying, it's like the exact thing that he said. It's like, I came back, you're still trying to make a name off of me.
Yep.
So it's beautiful. And then Ludwig Kaiser. Ooh, that's a pretty man.
It's a handsome fella.
He's still involved. Maybe Ilya Dragunov gets involved.
Yeah, we haven't seen Dragunov in a while since he got kind of written off TV a little bit with that stretcher angle after he got hurt by Bron.
Yeah.
But
big.
Yeah, man.
And now we have at least one tag team match that I know of with the mixed tag match, the Judgment Day match. The second time my bells rang in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, so that just made me lose my train of thought. Oh yeah.
Somebody trying to get to you, Drew?
Go answer that.
Are you home alone right now?
Yes, I am. Unfortunately,
right. That's fine.
I might have to leave for a second.
If they do it a third time. If not, they'll just leave. But if they ring the bell again, this is live TV, folks. You're getting.
No. I can't stand it.
We'll keep on going. But if they ring the bell again, if you have to go, you can go.
I don't know if they're going to do another tag match again, because I don't know what all the matches are going to be for Bash at Berlin. But if they do, this also, they could do a big time European tag team of Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov versus Pete Dunne and Ludwig. I think that would be a really awesome match.
That'd be nice. That'd be a good little match. Like on the pre-show or something like that. You're just gonna get them out there to whoop the crap out of me, or on the main card is fine. Well, Tom, to answer your question, we've been doing a show on Thursdays at 10 a.m. called Firmly AEW for a little while now, Drew and I. You're gonna go to the door?
Yeah.
All right.
I can hear people out there, so I'm gonna.
What the hell? What's going on? You gonna be safe over there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So yeah, Tom, to answer your question, on Thursdays at 10 a.m. for like the last year or so, Drew and I have been doing Firmly AEW, where we talk just about AEW. And WWE is obviously the last year and a half been hot as hell, and it's just been a product. I've always watched WWE. And I threw it out there to Drew. I was like, hey, man, don't know if you're available on Tuesdays at the same time, but if you are, I feel like Tuesdays is a good wheelhouse. We could probably do Firmly WWE as well. Then we can kind of do Firmly WWE Tuesdays, Firmly AEW Thursdays. We got our Thursday show, and that's what we're doing. So it's the second week of us doing Firmly WWE, but we've been doing Firmly AEW for a while. So that's how this show came about. I'm going to keep on going because I don't know how long. Hopefully Drew's safe. People ringing the door on a Tuesday morning at 11:45. What are you doing, bro? I see him. Drew's coming back. I think we're all right. But I'm going to keep on keeping on. We're going to bring Drew back on here. I think everything's fine. So we only got a couple more things to talk about on Raw. Earlier in the evening on Raw, we see The Miz looking very agitated backstage. He's not happy about what happened last week. The Miz is turning soon. We all know it's happening. Fine. And we see R-Truth basically say, hey, man, I'm sorry about what happened last week, but I made it up to you. I went to Pierce, and I got you a match tonight against Bron Breakker for the IC championship. And Miz goes, what? You got me a match with Bron Breakker tonight? Hell yeah. He goes, wait a minute. Isn't Bron Breakker in the main event versus a 2 out of 3 falls match tonight against Sami for the IC title? And they walk over to a monitor, and we find out that R-Truth pulled in R-Truth, and he didn't get Miz a match with Bron Breakker for the IC title. He got Miz a match with Bronson Reed, who last week murdered Seth Rollins. So Randy Orton then walks into frame, and I like
this was such a great I love this.
They reference it and they say, "Isn't that the guy? Didn't he kill Seth last week? They killed Seth." And they're like, "Yeah." And then the Miz is like, "Ah." So then Randy goes, "Hey man, you've done everything here, Miz. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You're a Grand Slam champion. Like you can, And he kind of pumps up Miz, and the Miz goes, "Yeah, all right." And the Miz walks off frame, and then it's just Randy Orton and R-Truth, and R-Truth goes, "You think he can beat Bronson Reed?" And Randy just goes, "No, no, no." Oh, hilarious. He just, God no. So then we fast forward, and we have the Miz and Bronson Reed. Miz held his own. This was a longer match than I thought. Like, they let Miz get some, they were really touting Miz's, his resume before this match with Bronson Reed. They did it before they went to commercial. They did it when they came back from commercial. They were really getting the point across that Miz has won 21 total championships in WWE because they wanted Bronson Reed. They wanted it to look really good when Bronson Reed destroyed the Miz. So they have a good match. Miz gets a little bit of offense on Bronson Reed, but Bronson Reed wins. But it's really what happens after. Let me tell you, that whole segment last week, not only did it get Bronson Reed to a different level, that tsunami now, that move is over, dude. Because the second he went through those ropes, before he was even climbing the rope, that crowd was like, "Oh shit." That crowd was like, "Here it comes. He's going to smash Miz." Like that move is over now. Hab guy, you are not wrong. You are not wrong, but I'm actually okay that they're going to be breaking up him and the Miz. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think it's time. So Bronson Reed hits the tsunami, defeats the Miz. Are they calling it the tsunami, or did they change it to the 747 splash? Did you hear them call that? I thought it was the tsunami. I thought it was the tsunami, but the thing that I'm reading, they're saying 747 splash.
That could be what the move is.
Okay,
maybe
it's the tsunami.
But he calls it the tsunami.
So Bronson Reed, post-match, Bronson Reed, it's looking like he's going to go back up and he's going to hit the Miz with the second tsunami. And at this point, the crowd is like, the crowd. The crowd's like, hell yeah, just fucking smash this guy. But R-Truth gets in the ring and he says, no. And he goes to help Miz. And Bronson Reed ends up hitting the tsunami on a standing R-Truth and smashes him into the ground. And then he repeatedly starts tsunamiing R-Truth over and over again, just like he did Seth Rollins. The referees are coming down to the ring. Adam Pearce is coming down to the ring. He hits Truth with 3 more tsunamis. Then Adam Pearce is like, "Get the hell out of here. I fined you last week. Like, get the hell out of here." Bronson Reed gets out of the ring, and he does that thing where he looks like he's leaving, and then he comes back and he hits. What is that? A cat?
Yeah, the cat's going to join us in a moment.
All right. Well, hey, I'm surprised Lou hasn't come out. Lou must be sleeping. Then he does the thing where he gets back on the ring and he hits the tsunami from the other corner on R-Truth. So he hits a total of 4, I believe. I thought it was 4. Might have been 5. But he had a total of at least 4 tsunamis on R-Truth. And once again, Bronson Reed just destroying people. And I think you do the thing with Seth last week, perfect. R-Truth is, look at Hab guy. We got to keep R-Truth safe forever. R-Truth is one of the most beloved people.
Adam Pearce doesn't feel that way, apparently.
But R-Truth is one of the most beloved people on that roster, Drew. I thought he was a perfect second guy. There it is. There's the tail. We just see the tail. I thought that was a perfect second guy for Bronson Reed to destroy. I thought it was perfect. I thought this was perfectly well done because I don't think if he did that to the Miz, it would get the same kind of reaction that it did with R-Truth because of the way we all feel about R-Truth. I thought this was perfectly done. They are crushing it with Bronson Reed right now. Crushing it.
Yes, I agree. Sorry, there's coffee on my floor now. Yeah, so here's the other. I mentioned, what the trend is on Raw lately. Out of fear of being blocked again. Hopefully, he's not watching this. Adam Pearce is an awful general manager. Yes. Listen. I like you. Please don't block me again. But holy crap. Everyone knows that they can walk all over you.
Oh yeah.
And listen, he said after the last tsunami that he did, when he walked away and then he turned back and Pierce was scolding him and said, I'm gonna suspend, I'm gonna fine you, I'm gonna suspend, blah 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 blah. And Bronson Reed didn't give a shit. And he went back up and he did another tsunami.
Yep.
And then Pierce gets back in the ring and he's like, You're suspended. He
doesn't care. He don't care.
It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter.
He's not going to be on Bash at Berlin, right? So have him be suspended, have him not on Raw next week, and then he comes back after Bash at Berlin. And now we found out that what happened with Seth last week was kind of a write-off situation because Seth is a little banged up.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be Bronson and Reed and Seth right away because Seth needs to go heal up a little bit. So they can always play that back when Seth makes his return whenever he's good to go. So you're going to have to find ways for Bronson Reed to do this. And I thought last night was a perfect part 2. And now if he's suspended, you get him off screen for, a couple weeks or however long, maybe a month, however long you're going to do it, you get him off screen. And then he comes back, a couple vignettes here or there to remind everybody of like, hey, remember this guy, how he destroyed these two people for a couple weeks in a row? And then he comes back and you kind of go where you're going to go.
I'm here. I'm listening. Sorry, I'm just cleaning up the coffee.
Unbelievable. Does the cat know we're live? We got 9 minutes left. Unbelievable. What a unprofessional cat.
This is just a weird day today. The bell of the cat.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. Not really smaller things, but a couple quicker things that happened before we dive into this main event for the last few minutes of this show. We got a new Wyatt VHS. It was a good one. It was Bo Dallas again. He was talking about the debut and how special it was last week with Baltimore. It's where it all started. We saw a couple more clips of the original Wyatt family as well. And then Bo Dallas said that he was offering his life for you, as in, I believe he was discussing it with Uncle Howdy. And then the vignette or the videotape ends with Uncle Howdy saying, there you are. Like that.
Such a beautiful segment.
Oh, Hab guy, I'm right with you, man. I've been loving everything about it. I said it last week. I will continue. I obviously knew it was going to be Bray. Like they are, the way they are involving Bray Wyatt as much as they are, and the way they're doing it's perfect for me. It's the perfect type of emotional on top of just being cool and different. And man, I love it. I love everything that the Wyatts are doing. We then saw a couple promos. We had ourselves a women's tag match, but beforehand, okay, I'm going to tell you. So we've seen this team form over the last 3 weeks to a month. Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark.
Oh, the name is terrible.
Awful.
Could have just not named them. Would have been better.
I have a couple.
What is the name?
The Pure Fusion Collective.
What
the fuck does that mean? Come on,
so
man.
Wordy. Like, what's the point?
Mia Yim on social media has been calling them the Stud Crew, and I'm in on that. They should have called them the Stud Crew.
That's perfect.
That should have worked. I mean, that's what Mia Yim calls them every time they're on TV. She tweets the picture of them on TV, and she calls them the Stud Crew, and she puts her fingers like this. She calls them the Stud Crew, and she does that. I love it. The pure feud.
What does that mean?
I assume it's some inside joke or it's something dirty that I'm old and I don't understand. But I love it. I've been watching Raws on Josh Robinson's Discord, and yeah, that's what I'm saying, Drew. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to speak out of turn. But
if it's that, my goodness.
That's what I'm thinking. We'll talk off camera because me and Josh have some really fun ideas that we think the group could do. I just don't know if it's kosher to be on air. But I'll run it by you, and then if it is, I'll talk about it next week. But so we saw a promo with Damage Control where it was Io Sky and Kairi Sane, and they were half talking English, half talking Japanese, which I liked. I liked how they were kind of every other line was English and then Japanese. I thought it was really good. We did find out, unfortunately, that Dakota Kai is injured again. She has a torn meniscus, and she's going to be out 8 to 10 weeks. She can't catch a break. That sucks. But Io and Kairi, and maybe if Asuka comes back at some point, I'm kind of digging the face run they're doing here with Damage Control. So we saw a promo with them. Then we saw a promo with Sonya talking for Zoe and Shayna, and we heard the name, the Pure Fusion Collective. Awful name. I hope that changes. That is bad. That is bad. Unless they explain the meaning to me about it, because I don't think they did last night, and it means something. That is a brutal name.
Yeah. It's no street trash. That's for sure.
No. But these Zoe and Shayna had a pretty good tag team match with Io and Kairi Sane. And Damage Control won by DQ, actually, because Sonya Deville got in and ran interference. But again, thought it was pretty good. Post match. Oh wait, time out. This was a number 1 contender match for the women's tag titles, by the way. I did not mention that. So Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were at ringside watching this match. Damage Control won by DQ. So technically, Damage Control are now the number 1 contenders for the women tag belts. I would assume that will happen at Bash at Berlin. I would assume.
I did not realize that the tag team champions were heels.
Oh, they are. Yeah, because on SmackDown, I'm going to call her B. Priestley, but Blair Davenport joined them a couple weeks ago in Cleveland, and she helped them beat Naomi and Jade. So they are a heel So we have a trio heel faction on Raw with Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya, and we have a new heel.
They weren't heels when they won the titles, right?
Well, that's because they won them in Scotland and they got the pop because that was their home country.
Oh, so that was
their
heels.
Home country. They are heels.
Oh.
Well, I mean, when they won them, I don't know if they necessarily were, but like the last couple weeks, they've been established as heels on SmackDown because Blair Davenport joined them, and they have a little trio over there now as well.
Got it.
Which we saw. I don't know if they'll do that. Maybe they do the tag match on SmackDown or Raw, and then they do the 6-woman match at Berlin because Naomi on SmackDown came out to help in this little thing here. I don't know how they're going to do it, but either way. But they had a good little match.
Probably going to end up being a 3-way, I would imagine.
I would be. Oh, no, wait. I think they announced that. I think they announced it last night. Did they announce that they're doing a 3-way at Bash at Berlin? They might have.
I don't remember.
I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure I think they might have announced it. But anyway, so that happened.
Good.
That should be good. That happened. Other than that, I'm looking. They did show Mark Henry and his son Jacob in the audience. His son Jacob was signed to. Holy crap, he looks like young Mark Henry.
He does.
He looks exactly like young Mark Henry.
He really does.
Holy moly. So he is a future WWE superstar. Hopefully, he looks the part. If he's half as good as his dad was, he'll be okay. He'll be okay. I loved Hall of Pain, Mark Henry. Just for the record, I loved.
I miss the music.
Mark Henry.
I'm ready for the music to come back.
Somebody gonna get their ass kicked. Somebody gonna get their butt whipped. Somebody gonna. I used to just say any line because it was funny. But all right, so we get to the main event, Drew. It is a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Intercontinental Championship between Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn. This match was one of the best television matches Raw has had this year. This match was so good. Easily, in my opinion, the best match that these two have had. And we saw Sami Zayn get the first fall in this one, Drew. He hit a haluva kick pretty early. Yes. He hit a haluva kick pretty early on in this match to get the first pinfall. And then obviously Braun needed to win 2 in a row. They go for a little bit. We saw Braun Breaker do his Avalanche Frankensteiner, which is just one of the most visually impressive moves of anybody. The way he can just easily get up there and do it so quickly. He like snaps the hurricane run. It's so good. But that was a close fall. Didn't get the victory. But Braun hits a spear to tie it up at 1-on-1. And then we have the go-home segment here where, okay, at one point, Braun Breaker, he was carrying Sami Zayn. And he ran and threw him over the barricade into the chair that the announcer sits in. And it was one of the more gnarlier looking things. They didn't show it from a good camera angle at first, but they showed it from like an overhead camera on a replay. Holy crap. Like a friggin' lawn dart. He just whooped Sami right into that chair. Holy moly. At one point, there was a sunset flip power bomb. Not enough to get a 3 count. There was a belly-to-belly suplex where Sami Zayn went absolutely flying. Not enough. They were going back and forth. At one point, Sami hit not a haluva kick, but another big boot. Braun kicked out. And then Sami goes to the top rope, and he's doing a splash off the top rope, and Braun catches him in a spear. Coming down, Sami from the top rope, gets the 1-2-3, gets the 2-1 victory, and retains the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And we go off air of Raw with Braun Breaker standing tall as still the Intercontinental Champion. Fantastic main event, Drew. Fantastic. Braun Breaker, he's the dude, man.
Listen,
that guy, he's the dude.
He's very, very quickly grown on me.
He's been closing a lot of Monday Night Raws lately. He's been closing a lot of money. Leading up to SummerSlam, he closed like 2 Monday Night Raws in a row. He closed this one. Like, they're putting him in a position where it is very clear that he is like the next. I look at him right now, I'm like, that's the next great baby face they have for a decade. Like, he's the next, to me, right now. I know he's a heel now, but like even the little thing they did before the match, that's going to get over everywhere. If they show him before every match looking in the camera and he goes, McAfee, and he goes, we got some dogs in the house, and insert friggin' town name that they're in. We got some dogs in the house in Austin, Texas tonight. And then you hear the crowd. If he does that in every town, over as fuck.
Yeah.
We got some dogs here tonight in Boston. Over, dude.
And so the interesting thing about what I said about Adam Pearce is, while he has no control over his locker room at all, when specific guys decide to take advantage of him and go, you're a terrible general manager, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yep.
They end up getting over as a result.
Yeah.
It happened with Braun Breaker. It's happening with Bronson Reed.
Yep.
Drew McIntyre as well. It is like, while it's silly as a storyline thing, like, you know, the general manager who, it's his like thing where he's like, this is official and I'm running the show, and then like the whole locker room just steps all over him.
Yeah.
It's working for a handful of people that are being booked as, oh, you're telling me I can't do this?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
100%.
And it's working with these people. And Bronson,
Braun, like these guys are, it's hitting. It's hitting. Drew.
And Braun here, it's worked for him. Well, I mean, it started with kind of Drew McIntyre, so it worked with Drew McIntyre, but it's really worked with Braun Breaker to the point that he's now the Intercontinental Champion.
And he's now one of the handful of top guys on Raw. Like, it's clear that he is in that upper immediately. He just debuted after WrestleMania. Like, he hasn't been around for a long time, and he is already positioned as like, he's up near the top, man. Up near the top immediately. And it's working really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't know where he goes from here, because you would assume last night was probably the end of Sami, because Sami and Jay are going to be moving
Right.
towards the tag. So I don't know who's next for Bron. If he wasn't hurt, I think Seth Rollins would have been a real get Seth Rollins going for the IC title. Immediately elevates that title even more than it's already been elevated by Gunther and now Bron. And I think that would have been a good one. I know Sheamus is involved in some stuff, but a Sheamus Braun Breaker thing would be something I would be very interested in. I'm trying to think of the baby faces on Raw, because right now, even though I think Braun could easily Punk would be good, but he's obviously
Punk
still
Breaker. That would be really good.
That'd be nice. Braun Breaker to me, like, he's clearly a heel, kinda, but like they could turn Braun Breaker face next week, and I think he's out of the park, top baby face on Raw, like one of immediately. Like, he already has it. The crowd already does the dog barking. They pop for his, like, he's kind of already a tweener, I feel like. At SummerSlam, when he won that title, not everybody was booing. And that is, again, Sami Zayn, who's beloved. Like,
well, I mean,
I'm not saying they're gonna. I think he's gonna stay heel, so I'm trying to think of, like, the baby faces on Raw. Like, who could be next for Braun Breaker? On the baby face, like Ilya Dragunov in a long form. If Ilya came back and said, "You took me out injured, I'm coming back. I want that for the title." I'm okay with that because they humped in NXT.
That's a good shout.
They humped in NXT on their feuds. So Ilya could be somebody coming back, going after him for a little bit. Jey Uso you could do, but again, him and Sami are going to be dealing with other stuff, so maybe not. But Jey Uso you could do. I'm just trying to think of, like, the mid-card baby faces on Raw right now. That would be like, you could do Braun Strowman. I would love to see Braun Breaker beat Braun Strowman. That'd be nice. Damian Priest, but he's again, they're involved in they got other stuff going on. Damian Priest would be a real good
Ilya
one.
Dragunov, Jey Uso.
Braun Strowman I would put in there if he's healthy. I would put Braun Strowman in there.
That's a good one.
That'd be a good one. Braun versus Braun.
Vince McMahon's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Two guys that set similar names.
Yeah. Sheamus, I think you could throw in there. I think Sheamus would work. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. But either way, that's going to wrap up SmackDown. That's going to wrap up Raw. And that's going to wrap up us. What is it? That's going to wrap up us here for another edition of Firmly WWE. Now, you will see Drew and I back at it 10 a.m. on Thursday for Firmly AEW. But again, another really good week of WWE television. We are heading into, we're at a point now where we're a couple weeks away from a major pay-per-view with WWE, Bash at Berlin, and we're a couple weeks away from a major pay-per-view All In. They're both in Europe. They're both, so we, on both shows here on Firmly, just in general, but Firmly WWE and Firmly AEW, we are ramping up to some major pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever the hell you want to call them, here. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff to talk about. Be on the look out for these shows, maybe some pick shows. Maybe we'll figure something out. We got to talk about how we're going to do the pay-per-view style stuff when we do that. But again, thank you all for hopping in today. Another fun episode. A lot of good stuff to talk about. WWE is just, they're at a certain level right now. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Hab Guy, Spencer, Tom Talks Rubbish, Scott with his message earlier. Hope everything went well for you again, buddy. But yeah, Drew, as we get out of here, let the people know where they can find you and where they can follow you on social media, man.
You can find me at Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast with trivia tomorrow night and Really Awful Wrestling on Friday. You can find me on the AEW Collision Post Show, collecting the Super Chats and Humper Chats for Fightful. And you can follow me at the Drew Nicholas on the Twitter machine. Also follow Firmly LW on the Twitter machine as well.
Yeah, do that, will you? Everybody, do that. You can find me, JPJ Loves Gaming, on all social media platforms. I also stream video games on Twitch 4 or 5 times a week. I'll be actually heading over there probably within the hour. The new Madden game came out, so I'm going to get my butt kicked by the computer and scream about it for hours because I am not good at video games. But it's fun. It's fun. Oh, that's what they tell me. So, yeah. But, yeah, you can follow me over there. YouTube as well, all the fun stuff. You can follow all of us here by going to Love Wrestling CA on all social media platforms, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all of them, Threads, all of them. You can find us there as a whole, where we have a lot of good stuff. You can, like, as you know, every Tuesday and Thursday now, 10 a.m., I'm chatting wrestling with this guy with Firmly LW, Firmly Love Wrestling. And every Thursday night, 8 p.m., you guys know by now, it is the flagship here at Love Wrestling. Me and my partner in crime, Pluggo, for Between Two Beards. What happened there? Did we just freeze? Did I freeze? Did you freeze?
You
what
froze
happened?
for a moment, yeah. But you're good now.
All right. But on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all for hanging in. We appreciate all you guys. And me and Drew will see you just in a few days, 10 a.m. Thursday, for Firmly AEW. Until then, y'all know the drill. Peace out.